Bitwit's coverage of Computex 2019 is brought to you by Phanteks, Cooler Master, Gigabyte, Enermax, Team Group, NZXT, and Corsair. To learn more about our sponsors, click on the links below.
Is she over there?
Right there.
Oh, getting coffee again. Why am I even surprised? Hurry up, we're gonna be late.
Your lens isn't all the way open.
Oh, thank you. I love you again. All is forgiven. All right, we're going to these guys. Who are those guys? What do they have? From the people who brought you leg. Introducing ARM. Banter. Oh, invite only. Are we invited?
Yes.
Okay. Hey! Hello! Okay, we're at the Phanteks booth, in case you couldn't tell. I'm checking out the new and improved Lux 2. Okay, this is it's come a long way since we saw it at CES this year. For starters, there used to be the fabric mesh that was along the sides here. They've actually swapped that out, and it's just open air now. They actually found that you get reduced thermals by removing that. The fabric mesh is actually really good in certain applications when there's a large surface area of it, but in this instance, they found that thermals are actually much improved without it. So you still get dust filtration though, pretty much top, bottom, and front. There's also some additions with some LEDs. You've got RGB, digital RGB all along here on the strip, kind of very similar to the Enthu Elite. There's also some lighting strip in here, just above where the Mini ITX board would go. If you guys remember, this is a dual system chassis, so there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of options that you can actually play around with here. Notice that the side panel is actually on hinges, snaps in, toolless. I love toolless side panels. To hell with screws. And we also have just very nice cable management in here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these modular trays that you can mount SSDs to. SSDs are getting prettier and fancier and decked out with RGBs more than ever before, so it's nice to show those off. You can actually mount SSDs on the opposite side of them too, so at the same time. So that gives you a lot of connectivity options. You can do mechanical hard drives at the bottom here. There's no cage installed right now, but you get the idea. Also, just ridiculous amounts of radiator support that we saw at CES. You can do dual 360 and dual 480 at the same time, which is just kind of insane. Okay, notice that there's up to 140 mount here. Bear that in mind for a little bit. I'm gonna come back to that and it's gonna blow your mind. And then we also have on the back here, more SSD trays, just no shortage of options. You can actually mount 2 power supplies in this thing if you want to. A lot of this is repeat from CES. If you guys remember, you can check that video out if you want more details. But if you go over here, they actually have some different use case scenarios of how they've set up the Lux 2, just depending on what you want to do with it. This is actually a dual system, fully water-cooled Mini ITX. You got vertical GPU mounting. You could also mount a vertical GPU here as well, but they have it in a more traditional horizontal orientation. This is what I was talking about. The 140 millimeter fan mount can actually support this new distro block. This thing is absolutely beautiful. I was pretty excited when they showed this off to me, but even more excited when they told me that this is compatible with pretty much any ATX case that has a 140 mount at the back with at least 7 expansion slots. This is a game changer, and it's going to make custom water cooling a lot more easy and efficient and quite frankly, beautiful. We also have this guy over here is more of a massive workstation build. I believe that's the dual CPU Gigabyte board that's just absolutely insane. Form factor, you can see it's perfectly accommodated. No modifications required to actually fit that natively. You also have a Revolt Pro here showing off the power expandability of that nifty little unit. There's the hard drive cage in action. Kind of see it right there. Again, there's so much flexibility just in this portion of the chassis alone. And then over here, we have just a pure airflow build, which is really nice. Up to 15 fans, which is crazy. It's still surprisingly quiet. Look at that. Bunch of halos on there too. Oh my God, can I just live? Can I live in this computer case? It's so hot outside. I never want to leave this space. This is super exciting too because these are cases we have never seen before, which is the P360X. So this is built off of the P350, very popular case, actually same internal layout, but you can see it's got a couple more tricks up its sleeve, including this very nice digital RGB lighting on the side here, as well as the front panel. I think the front panel is the biggest redesign here. They've actually got slots. It's hard to see, but there's actually 2 thin slots on either side. That's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure that was formerly being intaked at the top and bottom. So it's supposed to help thermal significantly. That was one of the shortcomings of the last case, but they seem to have fixed that as well. This is going to be retailing for $69, and it's going to be coming in August, as is the Lux 2 from what I've been told. So pretty much everything here is coming in August. Just wait till August. And then over here we have the Eclipse series P400A. Actually comes in 2 flavors, black and white. And you can see that this is built off of the existing P400, also a very popular case, but suffered from some of the same issues that the P350 did of having relatively closed off intake at the front. Now it's completely mesh, or mostly completely. You've got sort of a nice stylized look here, but this is completely metal, very high quality, very fine mesh. So it actually acts as a dust filter as well, kind of a multi-purpose thing here. Still have a dust filter at the top, but looks really nice, and also RGB. So this one actually comes with 3 RGB fans. It's a little bit more expensive, not by much. There's no fan controller included like there is with this one. This one comes with 2 fans, not RGB. These are 3 fans, digital RGB. I believe it's $69 and $89 respectively, also coming in August. Oh, I should also mention that the vertical GPU bracket design has been revamped pretty much. It's much more optimized. The existing vertical GPU bracket goes in a lot more easily, requires a lot less hassle than previously. It also spaces it out quite significantly from the side panel, so you get fresh intake regardless of the GPU that you're using, whether it be blower style fan or more of a traditional open air. Now, if you're not feeling amped enough, you might consider checking out the Phanteks amp power supply. This is a new line, all right? This is basically built off of the same existing Revolt I should say quality and design, because they are from Seasonic, just like the Revolt series. So very high quality. You've got 550, 650, and 750 watt. It's actually Revolt Pro Link certified, which means that you can actually use these in tandem with the Revolt Pro, completely compatible. They've been validated, in-house testing and all that. Of course, there's a lot of existing, other vendor-related power supplies that will support the Revolt Pro, but these ones are validated by Phanteks, and coming from the same Seasonic DNA, you can see why they're incredibly reliable when pairing them in that configuration. The pricing is also very, very good here. It goes from $89 here starting all the way up to $109.99 for the 750 watt. Additionally, you've got a hybrid switch here on the back, so if you wanted to do a 0 RPM, that's under 30% load, fans won't spin up, completely silent operation, which is a very nice feature to have. We also have a fully modular design. It comes included with black flat cables, which is my favorite actually. I prefer the black flats. So that's the amp line, but that's only half of it. Why do you guys have so much stuff? Over here, we have the Evolv Shift Air, Airflow, plus 1,000. I asked them, that is a highly scientific measurement. We have the existing Shift, Evolv Shift, which is a beautiful case. Actually, Wifey Sauce and I have one of these in our living room at home. However, ours have the original tempered glass on both sides, whereas you can see here they've used the fiber mesh. This is where the fiber mesh really excels when it does have a much larger surface area to work with. You can also see the RGB fans on the other side, so you don't quite lose all the transparency that you get with tempered glass. It looks really nice. And this just gives it a lot more breathability, a lot more airflow for both the GPU and the CPU, whether you're doing partial liquid cooled or air cooled. I mean, bear in mind, if you're doing an air cooled system, in this case, you're pretty much resorting to a low profile cooler, which doesn't do the best job all the time of thermal dissipation. But if you have the help of a fully mesh side panel like this, it definitely goes a long way. If you're an existing Shift user, these are going to be sold separately. You can add them on. It's completely compatible with the existing Shift, or if you want to just buy this from the get-go completely brand new, you can buy the Shift Air with the side panels included. You can also mix and match if you wanted to have keep glass on one side, mesh on the other. You can have your cake and eat it too, which is going to be great if you want to keep it a little bit more acoustically sound. If you have this wedged into the corner of your living room, for example, you might want to put the mesh panel on the side that's facing the wall so that it doesn't really interrupt your viewing experience. Here we have the Enthu Elite build that was showed off at CES that is supporting the ridiculously overbuilt and over-engineered Dominus motherboard from Asus, but you can see that they still have their custom water blocks on it. And the Elite case is pretty much one of the few cases on the market that can actually support these motherboards natively. You can see that they've also got their new and improved pump reservoirs, which are very nice. They have a fully transparent backing now, so if you had RGB fans behind them, you could actually still see them pretty well. Over here is pretty much the same thing, but they've actually swapped out the motherboard for the massive gigabyte board, and you can see that they've actually got custom water blocks for that board as well. So this can all be bought sort of not as a kit, but all these products are sold separately and they kind of all go together, especially because there's the Revolt Pro in here, which is doing some power expansion, so we have additional power, very clean power in fact, because with the Revolt Pro there's only one ATX cable that needs to go to the motherboard instead of two, so you're dealing with independent ripple. It's much more stable power going to the board. And then over here we have a nice look at the distro block that I showed you earlier in the Lux 2. absolutely gorge. You can see it's kind of showing off. You need that 7 expansion slot height in order for it to work well. They've also got a new and improved water block system, so these are actually covering a lot more surface area of the motherboard. The entire socket, whether you're talking Intel or AMD, is going to be pretty much just fully populated with digital RGB now. That wasn't there before. And this is just going to help eliminate some of the gap between the actual water block and the VRM heat sinks on the board, just to give it a more seamless look. It almost kind of looks like a monoblock, especially the AMD one. Looks very nice. We also have new and improved blocks in this style, the Glacier Radeon 7 and RTX 2070. Both of those cards will be supported by these blocks. The blocks will pretty much look like this regardless of if you go AMD or NVIDIA. Of course, there will be some slight differences on the bottom as well. And here's another look at the Glacier R160C, the pump reservoirs that have those translucent, transparent backings, and also digital RGB. Very nice. Phanteks is also showing off their metallic gear cases. These are the Silent, the Neo Silent cases that we actually already saw at CES. They're setting them up again just so we can get another look. But over here, we actually have the V2 versions of the Neo cases. Neo G, Neo Mini, Neo Micro, and Neo V2. The nice thing about these cases is that they haven't really changed the very simple, minimalistic, and classy look of them. Internal layout's pretty much the same as well, although they have improved it in one big way by actually making the front panel a little bit further away from the fan, so you get increased airflow. Also, I believe these ventilation slots are quite a bit bigger than they were before, which was pretty much one of my very few gripes of the V1 cases. So now that that's improved, I'd love to do some A/B comparison testing to see how much of a difference that makes. But so far, it's looking pretty promising. Is everyone holding their breath?
No. Well, Chris is.
I'm checking you. I'm checking you. Did you make a wish?
Wait, you're supposed to make a wish?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
That's why you hold your breath, is to make the wish come true. See what I have to deal with on these trips? Dude, it is pouring rain right now. I am so glad we have cars. Wait, where are we going right now?
Nangang.
Nangang. Okay, Nangang is the main show floor. It's the main exhibition center for Computex. We were just at Hyatt Hotel. There's some vendors that exhibit there, but where we're going right now is where the main goods are. So, wait, who are we seeing next?